Welcome back to another episode of Light Beer, Dark Money. I'm Sean Noble.
And I'm Chris Clements.
It is Thursday, June 12th. Happy birthday to my sister, Rochelle. I don't know whether she listens or not. So
she should listen.
Yeah. You know, It's, with family, I every now and then I know that some of them listen to some of them and that kind of thing.
Your wife listens to everyone and gives you
I get feedback.
Very pointed feedback.
I get feedback, lots of feedback.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah. I know my mom listens to
well, that's good.
Which is kind of bizarre.
Yeah.
You know.
One of the things, so just right off the top, prayers out to the families of the 242 people who were killed in the plane crash.
The plane crash in India.
Yeah.
There was one survivor I saw in the New York Post.
Is that right?
Yeah. And I hadn't read the article, but that is horrific. And it's the new airplane, the Boeing's new aircraft.
Yeah,
which has had a lot of controversy over the last several years, just getting it to market.
Yeah, Boeing. Yeah,
Boeing's
having some challenges, so they need to figure out what's going on. It will be very important, obviously, for people to understand what happened.
Oh my gosh, yeah, because
was it mechanical? Was it human error? I don't know. But plane crashes, you and I both travel
quite a bit.
I travel a lot less than I used to.
I was just in Austin yesterday picking up my son from camp, and I'm surprised I'm even upright.
And right, yeah, that's true.
Jeez,
and
what a day.
I typically don't really, turbulence doesn't bother me.
It doesn't?
Fine. No.
I get all nervous.
Alyssa gets nervous. But with some of the stuff that's happened lately, we were coming back from Orlando a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And we had some pretty heavy turbulence climbing out. And I was like, oh, this isn't good. In part, I think it's because if it's turbulence, you're cruising over the middle of the country, you're 35,000 feet and you hit turbulence. Like planes don't fall out of the sky.
No.
In the mid-flight.
Well, they were taking off.
Crashes are always right after takeoff or right before landing.
It's just like the family that lost their lives, the Arizona family, the other day in San Diego, in the little 6-seater Cessna. It's a twin-engine Cessna, and I haven't seen the latest, but the pilot didn't call in engine failure. He called in. He was having problems, maintaining altitude. He didn't talk about engine failure. One of the biggest factors to especially small planes and even large planes crashing or having issues is weight. It's just the sheer weight, and so that is one of the things. My dad was a pilot, and that was one of those things he was like so focused in on is. You need to sit here. You need to sit over here. You have to sit over here. By the way, we are not taking all this luggage.
Yeah.
We have to take this luggage and that, and then that's fine. Based on the airplane that he was flying. We had a Cessna 402, and he had like a Duke, which was smaller, and then he had a King Air. But all that plays weight, especially those smaller aircrafts, plays such a factor.
Yeah.
And I have to think that was probably that might have been the biggest factor there. These were big. Large young men and big, and they were fully stocked. There were 6 of them in there, and whatever luggage they had, and they had problem, lifting, and that's an older aircraft.
Yeah,
I mean, I was flying to Austin yesterday, like I said, and the plane going out there, I flew in, flew back. Flight back was, booked, but the flight going out there, it was not even a quarter full.
Oh, really?
And they were moving people around because of the weight.
Even on a big plane.
Even on the big plane. They're like, we can only have 17 people here up front. You people need to sit in the middle. People need to sit in the back. And they were moving people.
Yeah. I've actually been on a flight where you've had a couple of first class seats that they keep empty because of weight issues.
Yeah.
It's on those, the Embraer or whatever planes, the smaller ones.
Yeah, it's a huge issue.
Well, and I'm not I definitely have the John Kyl rule. So John
Yes.
Kyl was a longtime senator.
The greatest senator in the history
And
of Arizona,
he had
other
a
than
rule.
Barry Goldwater.
2 engines, 2 pilots.
Yeah.
He
that's
did not
true.
get on a plane that did not have 2 engines and 2 pilots.
Yeah.
And he did that because he watched too many of his colleagues die in small plane crashes.
Yeah.
There have been a number of senators who have been killed as a result of.
And when they have one pilot, and
Yeah.
that one pilot gets overwhelmed by a situation, and shout out to it's Father's Day this weekend, so
That's right,
we can talk about this. And my dad passed away in 1995, but he was a pilot, like I said, and he kept a pilot on payroll for that reason. I mean, there was airplanes that he could fly by himself that were as complicated, like the Duke, but the
King Air.
the King Air, no way.
Yeah.
And that's a great rule, especially for airplanes that are they're pretty complicated,
Right.
And you have a lot of issues that come up.
Yeah,
any given.
I think
There's multitudes of issues that come up as a small plane pilot.
I'm not a big fan of the prop planes. I mean, the smaller ones. I think the last time I was on a prop plane was the state plane.
There's not that many of them. I mean, being
number of
sold
years
now.
ago, yeah.
Most of all, the jet engine technology has advanced so much that small planes are mostly jets now.
Really?
Small engine jets. I mean, the airplane with the parachute, the Cirrus. I mean, most of those were single engine, but now they've got their jet, and a lot of people are buying those.
Interesting.
The interesting thing about that company, which I really appreciate, is that they make you buy the airplane or lease the airplane. That's the airplane they teach you it. So you become intimately understanding of that airplane,
that particular
airplane as you're learning to fly.
Yeah.
Which is tremendous.
Yeah.
I think it's a great thing. But Father's Day, we both lost our dads.
Yeah.
And,
mine more recently, but and it's one of the things that
it's a weird day.
It is a weird day because we're both fathers. We've both been fathers for a while.
Some more than others.
Some longer than others. My kids will ask me. My older kids will ask me, "What do you want for Father's Day?" And I always have the same answer. I want my kids to be happy. And they're like, yeah, okay, whatever.
I actually bought a couple things at a store the other day, and I'm like, Campbell, you're giving me this for Father's Day.
That's right.
Save this for Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, once you've lost your dad, it does feel a little different.
Well, and so many of we can venture into the politics of fatherhood because there is data, so much data now about the plight of our youth, the plight of our cities, the plight of so many of our societal ills has to do with lack of fatherhood, lack of engaged, purposeful, godly men leading whether they get it right 100% or not. Certainly I don't.
Yeah.
But the idea is that I'm going to wake up every morning, I'm going to give it my best shot. And my kids my wife and my kids are the most important things in my life.
Yeah.
And when you look at the statistics in the inner cities, like 70-80% now of youth grow up without a father. And that's why you're seeing the decimation of our inner cities across the country. I would even argue, I mean, many of the plight that we're seeing with these protests and everything, a lot of those kids do not have great relationships with their dads.
Yeah, it's interesting because I saw there was somebody that put some data.
I'm not
out.
talking about the illegals. I'm talking
about
we're talking about the white liberals who are out there
rioters,
doing their thing.
The rioters who are white liberals who are, I mean, this crazy stat, like 70% of the cell phone data of the rioters were from places like Beverly Hills,
Of course.
Malibu,
Oh, yeah.
Calabasas. I mean, it's like it is rich white liberals who are acting out.
Yeah.
And because they're tapped into this underworld of leftist ideology that is just hell bent on pushing back against the Trump administration. Because if you and I want to make this very clear, I was having a conversation yesterday, and the thing that the point I was trying to make, I don't think I did a very good job of it, but the point I was trying to make
Oh, don't sell yourself short.
Well, the point I was trying to make is if these rioters, and I put a definitive line between the protesters and the rioters. The protesters are one thing, the rioters are another. And, some of them start as protesters, become rioters. But there's definitely an element of people who are going in for the purpose of rioting.
Yes.
Creating chaos.
Stealing Adidas.
Yeah.
Lighting Waymos on fire.
Right. Throwing bricks at cops.
Throwing bricks into an Apple store and stealing the Apple products.
So,
white liberals. Woohoo.
And if you care about immigrants, and if you care about what, that illegal immigrants are being, targeted and rounded up and being deported, whether they're criminals or in this case, they might be the crime of being illegal aliens, not having committed any other crimes. That's, some of those people are being rounded up. If you care about what you would call the hardworking illegal immigrant who just wants to, live here and get ahead, the last thing that you should be doing is rioting. So, because you are not helping them. You are.
I'm laughing. I'm laughing, but I'm laughing because the point is so obvious.
Well, it is,
and what we're seeing is a whole swath of very organized leftist, communist, Marxist demonstrations that are playing right into the hands of the Trump administration.
Yes,
in terms of their arguments against illegal immigration. And when you're out standing on a burning car with a face mask and waving the Mexican flag, you are making their argument for them.
Yeah.
You are making their argument for them. So whether you're for some sort of path to citizenship, whether you're for embracing the dreamers who were born here and their parents came here illegally, but now they've been here and they've gone through our educational system and we should create some kind of path for them. Whether you're sympathetic to all that is irrelevant to what is happening right now.
Right.
And whatever they do this weekend with the No Kings riots is going to be irrelevant because the middle of the country, 50, 60, 70% of the country is not with you.
They watch that and it emboldens them towards Trump. And that's the thing
it's
that I just...
It's not 2020.
No. And and even then, I mean, that's the thing.
Well, even then, yeah, absolutely.
That wasn't helping
no.
the black population. Those protests. I mean, that's the thing is that people need to understand.
It didn't help it in 1992.
Right.
In Los Angeles.
There are nefarious forces who hate America, and they are screwing with liberal-minded people who care about him. I mean, there are people on the liberal side, on the Democrat side, who care about America.
Sure.
And they care about the way people are treated, and they care about things. And I understand that, and their intentions are good. But you are being stomped on by the radicals that have infected your party.
Well, yeah, and this idea that the whole defund the police movement and Black Lives Matter, Antifa should be declared a terrorist organization as far as I'm concerned. And what the damage that they've done within our inner cities. And I made the point the other day in the podcast, and I continue. I'll hammer it. None of these places that they riot at, none of these places that they burn, come back.
No.
It takes decades because investment leaves. Money walks. And when money walks from the inner cities, I mean, leftists complain about, oh, they're regentrifying our black neighborhoods or what have you. And it's like, that's lifting up the neighborhood. That all these old burned out buildings are being reconstructed to build up the neighborhood. The only people who suffer when inner cities lose their police force are the people who live in the inner cities.
Right. And
the white liberals living behind their gated communities.
They can leave.
They're armed. They're ready to go. No one's going to go challenge them.
Yeah.
No one's going to Malibu to riot.
Right. The video of the people at, basically looting these. There's a couple different videos where they were looting taqueria, or however you say it. Basically
Yeah.
a Mexican convenience store, and
They're
the
looting.
proprietors are Mexican people. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I mean, they're just. I mean, it's like, how is this helping
They're
your
looting.
issue?
I saw something in the Wall Street Journal. They're looting jewelry stores with people, Hispanics, people who've had it for 3-4 decades.
Yeah.
What are you doing? No, they do it for effect. They do it to oppress, and they don't care about the consequences because it's all about tearing down the system.
Yeah, they're basically anarchists who hate America, and they have hijacked a large element of the Democratic Party, and it is hurting Democrats.
Oh, you're seeing the clown who's running in New York right now for mayor. Total socialist, total communist, and he's leading Cuomo.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the polls, and that's ranked choice voting right there. And Cuomo still has a chance to rally if he comes at the top two. But I mean, the polling came out like 38-31.
Wow. Well, folks.
So I mean,
yeah,
it's insane. And unfortunately, they've picked the most. Fortunately or unfortunately for them. And how well organized it is. They've picked the city with the most incompetent mayor and the state with the most incompetent governor.
Well, I will push back on that.
I know you're pushing back on Karen Bass.
She's not incompetent.
She's not incompetent.
She's one of them.
She's one of them. And but a police force that's been completely decimated.
Well, I mean,
over the course of several decades.
Well, not only that, but she's directing what the police force can and can't do. I mean, she's putting her thumb on the scale, and I think that the chief is probably frustrated.
Yeah.
As far as the governor, yes, an incompetent showboat.
Clown.
So, Gavin Newsom, yes.
Governor Botox.
Run for governor, or run for president, yes. Oh, do you see
Governor Hair Gel.
Apparently, Kamala Harris has reached out to Gavin Newsom a couple times and gotten voicemail.
Oh, yeah, that's the biggest clown show that he's not taking her calls. He wasn't taking the president's call until he took the president's call and then denied he took the president's call, and the president brought the receipts. I'm like, what you could really do, Mr. President, is just release his number. And then watch it fly.
Yeah. Well,
it's going to be an interesting weekend.
Yes. We'll be happy 250th birthday to the Army.
Yes.
Happy Flag Day.
Happy birthday, 79th to President Trump.
Happy birthday to President Trump.
But also
happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day, and love and mercy to the Wilson family.
Yes.
Of California.
Yes.
Brian Wilson, I just want to plug this in. Brian Wilson was, of course, the Beach Boy, but I would argue, and we've talked about music on this show, the greatest composer, arranger, musician, vocalist, perhaps, of the rock era.
No question.
I mean, the fact that Paul McCartney just, maybe the greatest Beatle than John Lennon, but we can debate that. But his post yesterday about Brian Wilson, just acknowledging that he was the great one. Yeah. He was the genius. And without Brian Wilson, there would have been no Sgt. Pepper. There wouldn't have been a lot of things that we did as Beatles.
Yeah.
Because he pushed us to be better.
He changed the music industry. He was the first rock star to write, compose, perform,
all of
the
it.
Rock era. I mean, he was everything.
Yeah,
he produced. I mean, we throw around musical genius a lot. He was the musical genius.
He was the musical genius. And when his wife died last year, I followed him on Instagram, have for years, and I just knew. I'm like, well, he'd been touring. He'd he'd been staying active despite, he had, a host of mental issues, obviously, because of all the LSD and drugs he did in the 60s and part of the 70s. But a lot of his solo work was beautiful. He was able to re-release Smile, which is, along with Pet Sounds, Beach Boys' masterpiece.
Yeah. Well, that was decades in the making.
He was amazing, and the tributes coming in have been really great to watch.
Yeah.
So happy Father's Day to everyone this weekend. God bless you for all you do for your families, for your children, and staying in the fight, gentlemen. Staying firm, standing firm. Because that's one thing that Brian Wilson did at the end of his life. He adopted a bunch of kids. He made peace with his daughters, and he became a great dad and grandfather.
Yeah.
That's all we can ask.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
God bless.
Have a good one. Take care.